Front headlock. Now, I'm going to show you how some people show a knee tap. I'm going to show you a modification to it that I think will give you better success, okay? Oftentimes what people will show from knee tap is we're in a front headlock here. This hand that's on the tricep is going to reach through and tap the far side of your opponent's knee. Can work, don't get me wrong, especially if you time it well, it works really well. From here, I step up, I drive through, and I knock Angel down to a hip with that knee tap, just like so, okay? I'm going to show the other side, just so you get both angles. Again, showing how most people show it, then I'm going to show you a slight modification that I think you will enjoy. From here, I'm in position, head and arm. This hand that's under the armpit reaches through and taps the far side of the knee. I step up, notice I'm stepping up here. I use this as a drive leg. I drive through and I knock Angel down to a hip. Now, what you will find is that when opponents become savvy to this knee tap, they will make a very wide and resistant base. There's a certain point where a wide and resistant base, he makes his base so wide, so resistant that you should probably move on to something else. But still, there's sometimes where they make a wide and resistant base, but not so much that the opportunity of a knee tap completely goes out the window. There's one modification I'd like to make with a knee tap that still allows me to hit a very strong knee tap, and that's a pass off. Here's what I do. We're in a front headlock. Off this front headlock, I pull just to snap my opponent and get him distracted on snap downs. I go to an over-under grip first. From this over-under grip, this hand that was originally on his head grabs the knee first. So this hand that was originally on the head taps the knee. I start to drive, and that starts to compromise his base to a certain extent, and then I pass from left to right, and I double up. Off that double up, I drive, and that's what puts him down. Now, the moment I put Angel down here, he's in a bad problem here. If his hip stays down, with this over-under grip, I will rise, and I'll come up to my toes. I will circle, step, post, and start to take his back off that over-under grip. As you guys can see here, I have diagonal control. What I do here is I pass off the far shoulder to an underhook. I go seatbelt, and then from here I can start to fight for the second hook. Okay? Let's look at that again. I'll try to not crowd the camera this time, Ty. I'll go a little bit farther away. Good, right here is fine. Front headlock, over-under. Off that over-under, watch how my hand that's here, that was originally on his head, the underhook hand, taps. I start to drive, and I pass off to the second hand. I complete the drive, and I break him down to a hip. Once I break him down to a hip, I keep the over-under, and I pop up to my toes. I circle and step and post. I keep the underhook on his far shoulder because that gives me diagonal control. Okay, so I keep this underhook right here. Okay, off that underhook, see how his hip is free? I put my knee outside his hip like this. And then I rotate him all the way through, and as I'm rotating him through, I pass off the underhook, and I get a seatbelt. Off that seatbelt, I go all the way to the other side of my body, his hip stays between my knees, and now from here I can start to fight for the second hook, however that may be, right? Back takes are not the focus of this instructional. Mm-hmm. What Angel will do is Angel will realize, like, crap, if I stay on the hip, like, this guy's going to get behind me, he's going to take my back every time. So guess what he's going to do? He's going to build. But when he builds, 18, okay? So go here, over under, pass, tap, breakdown. As he builds, guillotine. Off that guillotine, finish. One more time. Over under, tap one, drive, pass, tap two, breakdown. Off that breakdown, as he comes up, guillotine. Off that guillotine, I connect, and off that connection, I finish. Okay, now we're going to look at using an Olympic roll to create neck exposure. Again, it's all about creating layers of movement that as my opponent respects the attack at hand, it exposes the real attack we want. Okay, it creates the exposure. All right. The Olympic roll is a technique you'll see used at the highest forms of freestyle wrestling. If it works against those animals, it'll work against your gym training partners. Okay. So what we're gonna do from here is gonna be a front headlock on Angel. Good. Off this front head, I'm gonna snap and create elbow exposure. So I snap and I get his elbow away from his body. Once I get his elbow away from his body, I will lock my hands in a gable grip formation. If Angel's elbow is wide, I will collect his elbow with my elbow and pull his elbow towards me, okay? The reason I'm pulling his elbow towards me is I'm creating exposure between his knee and his elbow to create a hole here. Why do I want to create a hole? Because my head's going to go in that hole, and that's what's going to allow me to walk the corner and turn him with power, okay? What I'm going to do from here is my head is going to go in the hole here, and now with my head in the hole, I'm going to pop up to my feet. Now from here, I'm going to walk 1, 2, 3, 4, and I look to line up my hips with his. Once my hips line up with Angel's, it puts so much torque on his spine that when I turn my hips belly up, it turns the guy with so much power, okay? If you guys have ever tried this technique, I'm sure you guys have faced that one guy that you try to turn him super hard, and no matter how hard you try to turn him, the guy's like a brick house. He just stays in place, and you just can't turn the guy, okay? Close distance with the hips. This will turn anybody, okay? So, again, watch how my hips close distance with Angel's hips. Once I set everything up, my head comes in the hole, and I don't try to turn from here. First, I walk my hips towards his. Once I walk my hips towards his, now my belly button faces the ceiling. And that turns anybody and everybody. From here, if Angel stays here, obviously I have very strong threat of anaconda. What Angel has to do here is belly button has to start facing the floor, scissoring, and starting to come up. I will hold and allow him to bring me up. As he comes up, what do you think Angel's going to want to do with this elbow? You think he want to keep it there? Exactly. Why? Because he knows I'm attacking the rear of the elbow. He knows if that elbow stays forward, I have follow-up attacks. Maybe I can even roll him again. But as the elbow comes back, that's when I slip my guillotine into place. Okay? And that's typically that elbow retraction.